This is the one you've been waiting for.
What's happening to me?
Your psychokineses and these delusions.
No, you're not listening to me!
The one you've been asking for.
Hey, Tina, isn't this the way they wear their jackets back in the mental hospital?
Concentrate. Concentrate, Tina!
The one you've been dying for.
You people give me the creeps.
Okay, you big hunk of a man, come and get me.
Jason is back. But this time, someone is waiting.
Jason?
Hey, don't go in there!
Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
There goes the neighborhood.
Anniversary for Part 7. Let's show these guys some love here. How about Mr. Terry Kiser? Bad News Breeze. Brad Barrows. Staci Greason. Mr. William Butler! And Jason himself.
The vodka's already out this early.
Hey!
You guys!
Can you sit in the audience for this one?
Make sure you put that mic in your mouth.
Yeah, directly in.
What are you talking?
Oh, you don't have a chair?
In my mouth.
Would you like to be here in the center?
No, I'm good over here.
Just lay on the table.
Just gotta stay away from
Ah, it's nice and cool in here.
Yeah.
All right, so 25 years later.
You don't have to yell.
25 years later.
There, that's what Soto
Do you even need the mic?
Campfire store.
Not with your big mouth. So after all these years, what's it like being back together?
Nice.
It's
Really good. Really good. Bar.
You guys do have some microphones there.
Oh, I don't think we need my...
It is awesome. I haven't seen Terry for 20 years. Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Staci since we actually shot in Alabama.
Same with me with Laura, yeah.
I see Billy all the time.
Yeah.
It gets old.
Staci and I are neighbors, so it's my
We
friend.
see each other all the time.
I bailed Kane out of jail once, so I knew.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about it.
I brought him some food.
Was that
Like
Like that's an unusual thing.
Well,
was the jail in Mexico? I can't remember which jail that was. Mexico?
Mexico, yeah.
I got him a masseuse.
Which is what got him in jail in Mexico.
we're the masseuse.
Billy, you can't tell everything.
Sorry.
God.
So, right when you guys got casted, had you guys seen any of the previous Friday the 13th? No?
I had. I loved #1 and #2 so much, so I was really excited to do this.
Me too.
Did they make any after Part 7?
I don't think so.
Oh, no.
No, not any good ones.
So I
I think that Jason was so bad in Part 7, they just stopped making him.
Oh,
Oh, wait. No, that was the guy that came back for 3 more. Oh, no, that was the wrong guy.
Yay.
I'm curious.
I was at home and Billy called.
Yeah.
And we had just done a horror film together called Terror Night. And he called and he said,
I hate the girl who's playing my girlfriend. Come be my girlfriend.
Yeah, she's a nobody. Her name's Marsha Cross. Nothing's ever gonna happen to her.
Oh, so I drove down to the
sucks.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Is that really?
Then she ended up on Desperate Housewives.
And I got to be your girlfriend.
And I'm a
in Friday the
waiter at
13th
the
I think I rented the whole series before I went on my audition. I did a marathon all night.
You're a method actress. Yes, you are.
I was such a geek. I was like so happy to even be there. That was just the best day, best month. How long did we film?
8 weeks.
8 weeks was awesome.
And then we went back, remember, a few
Did
months
that
later.
include, that included the reshoots, did it?
No, that didn't include the
Body parts.
reshoots. We did reshoots the first week of March, and the movie was in theaters May 13th, which is quite amazing for anybody that knows, you know, production at all. That's an amazing feat to get it in the theaters that quickly after pickup shots. I had seen all the Friday movies before just because I was a fan, and never in a million years anticipated being in the position of putting a mask on. So once I was told by Butler that he wanted me to play the character, I was like incredibly honored and decided to watch them all again just to see, in case I did play the character, see what I liked about previous performances and what I didn't think worked and stuff. So, you know, that's what I did. And then we did a screen test. A lot of people know this, but a lot of people don't, that I had to actually do a screen test with a version of the costume on, and we shot it on film to make sure that the producers liked what they saw. And once that was the final decision, I got a message on my answering machine at home from Butler saying, yeah, I'd just like to leave a message for Mr. Voorhees. And that I had gotten the part, and I was very excited and, you know, very happy to do it.
Did you kill someone in your screen test? Did they make you kill someone?
Oh yeah, I brought another stunt guy with me, a buddy of mine, Alan Marcus, who worked on the movie. He doubled, let's see, he doubled Kevin underwater, I don't know, whoever it was.
Right.
And he did many of the things. He was on the show quite a long time with me, but I brought him down and ad-libbed a bunch of killing of him.
Very cool.
I was dragging him by his hair. And, oof, it was brutal, but you know, he ended up working on the movie a lot. So, and then at the end of the audition, while we were shooting the last shot, some of the producers came in and sat behind a table like this, watching us shoot the final scene, and I told Butler, just follow me, because I'm going to do something extra, and I walked over in the costume, which wasn't a very good version of it, but walked over to the table and flipped it away from them and then glared at them, and they're like, okay, you're fucking Jason, all right. I think it was pretty convincing.
They did a whole screen test. I didn't do a screen test, we did a makeup and hair test for Tina. And they dyed my hair like a dark black and did real pale white skin and real heavy dark makeup, and it looked ridiculous. And they were like, they didn't want to go that direction. They wanted Tina to look, you know, just more simple, you know, simple, honest kind of a person. So you didn't see that version, you saw the other one.
Now, Laura, Tina had the telekinetic powers.
Yeah.
What did you do to prepare for that role?
Well, I was very aware of them having tried to do the Carrie versus Jason and what they had gone through trying to get that franchise to work. So I didn't want to do, you know, Sissy Space Act creepy and try to do that type of thing. So I just spent a good amount of time with local weird people in LA, and when they would suddenly...
You were at Butler's house, I guess.
It happens.
But I didn't want it to look like she was going into some kind of a convulsion or something like that. I wanted her to seem more tormented with her own inner emotional turmoil.
So Billy, they had this big party for you and never showed up. What happened?
That part sucked.
I'm sorry.
You and Staci kind of just went out and did your own thing there.
I'm so excited. I'm in a Friday the 13th movie. This is a dream come true. I'm the second person killed. However,
First one killed.
There's a big debate here now. There's a big debate.
I am the first one killed by Kane because we filmed my death before we filmed your death. So that counts.
It doesn't count. What page?
That totally counts.
Really good try.
Actually, what Bill's talking about, the shot of the flashback that Tina has in the kitchen of the house during the party.
The first shot of the movie.
Right. When she sees me impaling Michael in the kitchen, that was the very first shot I ever did as Jason. The first time I put the mask on and rolled cameras was that shot.
That was the first time I had been in a movie where, because I was very young, I was like, wait a minute, you built
30.
I was 38. I was like, I was like, how is this going to cut together? We're in LA and this cabin, the inside of this cabin is here, but how are we going to get to Alabama? Is it supposed to be the same house? Like, I don't understand. I had no idea what I was doing, but I spit blood really good, I do remember. Yeah, I did. The other thing about him is, like, when you're acting with him, you don't ever have to worry about pretending to be scared because he's literally whispering in your ear, I'm about to beat your ass. So then you're just like,
That's the beauty of the hockey mask, is I can talk to all these motherfuckers during the kill scenes, and they just get rid of it in post-production, but you can't see that I'm talking, and I did that quite a bit.
Kane, you didn't do that to me. Because when you were killing me, I remember John telling you, get closer to her head, get closer. And I remember you saying, I don't want to hurt her, I don't want to hurt her.
Yeah, see, I'm just very concerned.
yeah, gentle, kind soul.
You said to me, sorry, darling.
Yeah. You were like, you're going down, bitch. Start running.
This was my first movie of killing people. I've progressed since then. I'm not nearly as friendly.
Yeah, you're done.
I remember we were running through the woods, that thing, right before you threw that thing, and the cameraman was saying, like, well, in movies you don't really run as fast as you're supposed to because it doesn't look good on camera. And then right after I said okay, he said, you better fucking run as fast as you can. Fucking beat your ass.
And there's a good shot when I was going after Terry with the weed whacker,
which is a typical Friday night.
Yes, but there's a shot, I don't know if you guys remember this, but the camera operator has to do his POV. And so the camera operator is holding the camera, walking backwards in the woods, and I have the weed whacker, which at times had a real steel blade on it. Other times there was a cardboard blade, but at this time it was a steel blade. And if you watch that scene again, when the blade is coming up right in front of the lens and going back and forth like this, when I was, going after people, the guy was shitting himself, saying, "Oh, please don't trip," because that was a real steel blade running at high speed. So, it worked out fine, but.
Lucky for Terry.
So Terry, you're quiet. We want to hear from you. How did you get involved with Friday the 13th 7?
I don't know. Somebody called and said, "Will you do this?" That was what I remember. And then showing up in Alabama, shooting at 6 at night until 6 in the morning.
It was
all night
cold.
shooting. That's all
it was cold.
Oh,
we had alligators.
I wasn't cold.
There was an alligator wrangler who was 90.
In the swamp. It was all those 12 hours, whatever it was, in the swamp. So there was no nightlife.
No.
Well,
The receptionist.
I went to Mobile.
I found plenty of nightlife.
Bill had a party in his mouth.
I discovered a lot of things in that movie.
So I guess...
We all did. I'm still discovering, Billy.
Yeah, well...
So I guess being dead in a cold swamp is a lot worse than being dead on a beach, huh, Terry?
One check has bounced in my life so far, so I'm pretty happy about that.
let's talk about Weekend at Bernie's for a second here. That was such an amazing performance by you. How on earth did you prep to do a role like that, where you're basically dead for 80% of the movie?
It was fun. The idea, we decided when we started shooting this thing, was that we were going to try, the whole idea was the three of us were going to try to break up each other. That was the whole idea. And the reason, being a craftsman, you say it's going to keep it fresh. See, it's going to keep it real all the time. So we were constantly pulling things on each other, but it kept it alive and it kept it interesting for the audience as we shot. I wish there was a reel on those outtakes, because the outtakes were so fun. Some of the things that we came up with and did. But I've never seen that. But that's how the movie was kept fresh. That we all kind of tried to break up each other throughout the set. And we were very loose with the script. And it was called Hot and Cold when we first started rehearsing this thing. And it started going, and Bernie just became more involved, kind of the center of everything. So I went up to the producer and I said, "You're going to have to change the title."
Do you remember for a while the movie was called Birthday Bash?
That's what it was.
Because they didn't tell you what it was when you auditioned for it. They didn't say it was Friday the 13th. They said Birthday Bash, and I was like, "What is this?"
But when you're a fan,
do you remember what Jason was in the Birthday Bash script?
No.
It wasn't the name Jason.
No, what was it?
Ethan.
Yeah.
It was Ethan.
And you guys were talking about screen tests before, and you said the hair and makeup. I had kind of like a sexy test, because my character, as you all know, was a geek. So I was like very into, I'm a late bloomer, so I was way younger than you guys, but.
Way younger!
I was in my like Stella Adler like actor studio days. So I was like into, and so I came in, like I hadn't taken a shower, I was wearing glasses, just looking as gross as I could. And then right before I thought I had the role, they called my agent and they said, well, we really love her, we think she's great, but we just don't think she's sexy enough. And so my agent was like, no, she is, she's done a lot of work, you gotta see her again. So then I did like the little touch-up work my ass at home, and then went in on sexy to my last audition and the rest is history.
That's the same thing with me. Mine was originally auditioned, he was supposed to be like a stoner with like long hair, like a rocker guy, and I kept getting closer to it and closer to it, and they were saying, yeah, we think we're going to use you, we think we're going to use you, and then I got the job, they're like, you're hired. And I was like, oh, that's going to be so great. What a great idea to do a character role. And they go, now we're making it into a nerd.
You're pretty much a nerd in almost everything you do, right?
Including walk across the room.
Leatherface.
Yeah, that was, yeah, a charming nerd.
Actually, you were pretty badass in Night of the Living Dead.
I do fine. I thought I did pretty good in Night of the Living Dead.
So what was it like working with John on set? Did he give you guys a lot of freedom for improvs, and what was that like?
I'll let him talk.
I don't know. I didn't find it to be an improv set at all when a man's chasing you with axes and things. So
did you guys pretty much stick to the script or the script strictly?
My things were very technical script, but John Buechler, for me particularly, was a very kind director, which I really appreciated at the time. He was trying to explain. I mean, we didn't have all this computer-generated stuff to be moving things around, and he would just really try to explain it. And I had to trust him that, yeah, it was going to work, except that when you had to throw the TV, because that didn't work, we made it work. But he was a very kind person, and he didn't yell. We did have a producer who came around and yelled all the time, crazy woman. But other than that, he didn't yell. He was cool. And he's a good friend today.
One in particular, I can't remember who he was, used to yell at John all the time.
We know. We remember, yeah. For me, Buechler was fantastic because he would let me add my own flair to the kills and to the stunts and stuff. I was a stunt coordinator too, and I was involved in most all the action. So he'd let me put my own spin on things, especially with the kills, adding little stuff to it. And you know, helping me make the kill more exciting and stuff. So it was really a pleasure for me.
Yeah, John for me too. He listens to actors, and he gave me enough liberty where I felt, I got satisfaction to be able to bring my stuff, but he didn't always let me do what I wanted. But at least he let me go to the end of my ideas, and then, whether they were accepted or rejected, that's another thing, but he let me, express myself.
I still think the most impressive thing I've ever seen in 25 years of making movies is the fact that they built her house, was a full-size house they built, and they really blew it to smithereens.
Yeah.
Like that explosion you've seen, that is a real giant house exploding. I remember that.
Yeah, and for me, I was there.
Yeah.
Were you there when they blew
Yeah.
it across the water or whatever? Mm-hmm. And it was such an immense, powerful explosion that for me it was hard. It was almost too fast for my eye to capture.
Yeah, it was huge.
It was just like instantaneously from looking at the house till there's nothing. There didn't seem to be like any transition of blowing stuff away. It was just bam, gone, and it was incredible.
It was so awesome. I remember also the roof fell on you, and that was really you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The roof, yeah. Oh yeah. When she dropped the roof on me.
It's like a real roof.
It was real, and I said, this thing is like completely structurally sound, and you're going to drop it on my head? And they said, well, we're going to take the middle 6 feet of it and make it out of balsa. And I said, okay, well, that might help, but and then I look at it when they built it. It's balsa 2x8s on edge, so it's lighter, but it's connected to 25 feet of structurally sound real wood and shingles, and I thought, I don't know if that's going to really give like they think. And so when it came down, it just drilled me into the stairs and almost knocked me out, if I remember.
Yeah, that was terrible.
It was bad, yeah. And there was do you remember the special effects guy, Fletcher?
Yeah.
And Lou Carlucci. I remember one of them, I can't remember which one, probably Lou, because he was on the button blowing the house up. He was in the other house that they had built, and he was on the button ready to blow the house, and he was looking around like a big 4x4 stud looking at the other house. He's 50 feet away or more. He wants to protect himself, but he wants to see what he's blowing up. And he says as soon as he hit the button and the other house blew, this house moved into his face. The entire structure hit him. And that's how powerful it was.
So that other house, that was just a structure. That wasn't a full house. That was just a structured house, right?
No, we had the full stairs and everything. Yeah, we had. I don't know if it was a full house. We had the
not full, but it was more than a facade.
Yeah, it was more than a facade. And Kane, actually, I got to do a couple stunts foolishly on the film, but it was good. I trusted him, and so he let me fall through when the monster comes in and you run up the stairs, and I got to fall through and land on all the padding into the basin. That was fun.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when Tina's running out the pier to get away from the house blowing up, I got to do that and took a few dives. Don't want to do that again because you have to do that a lot, and that hurt.
Well, that just reminded me of something that I changed in the script too.
What was that?
Was when I chased you and Kevin up the stairs, and of course to the end of the hallway where the door is conveniently locked and they have no escape. I come up the stairs. The first version of the script I read was Jason comes up the stairs, Tina makes the light shake, hits me in the chest, and I tumble down the stairs.
Oh yeah, you didn't tumble on that.
And I said, John, let's do something more exciting. First of all, I have a hockey mask on. It's a breakaway, so you can smash me right in the face with it. And then how about if I just fall like a tree and go through the stairs? And he said, you can do that? And I said, sure, I'll talk to the effects guys. And it made it much more exciting to just go to teeter and go right through the stairs. And as some of you probably read, my head crashed through the last breakaway stair, the last balsa stair, which the next one down was structurally sound again, so that wouldn't have been too good. But
no wonder you were so pissed when we saw you without the mask.
I think that's what makes that Friday so good, is that Jason finally had somebody to go up against.
Oh yeah, that's the whole basis of the story is finally somebody battled Jason, and that was a cool thing.
Yeah.
And you guys know that Billy did my makeup every day also, along with playing the character, did my makeup every day on the shoot. So.
And it stunk.
He was very stinky.
Yes, you smelled awful.
The suit, after like the second day, it just was like, you would unzip that thing and it would just be moths flying out, tumbleweeds, bats.
Well, that's why you needed all the cocaine, right?
Oh, a lot of cocaine. It was how we functioned back then. I can't Not anymore.
Laura's like, not me.
I'm a clean.
Poor little innocent Tina didn't do any coke.
No, yeah, there was a fair amount of cocaine going on.
All right, do we have any questions from the audience? Yes, sir.
No, I don't have any.
I mean, 7 was my favorite, hands down. I was just wondering how it was working with Savini and...
Savini? Well, Savini didn't do that movie.
No?
No.
Really?
Butler's makeup effects company did all the effects.
Oh, okay.
Savini, I don't think, worked past like 4, was it?
I think he maybe did 4. He did one with Corey Feldman, I know.
Staci said it was 4, so. Yeah, so he didn't, it was all John Butler's company.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Billy, will you tell the dip story?
What's that mean?
What?
The dip. Dip?
Dip.
Dip?
Dip.
Laura, you tell
Come
the
on.
dip story.
What dip story?
Well, when Jen was doing the dip at me?
Dip?
Oh, come on, guys.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, she walks in. What are you talking about? She walks in with the dip.
How many takes did we do of that?
I don't know.
Like 30?
Who was it?
40?
Jeff
Come on,
Barrows.
guys.
No, he was dead.
I was dead.
He was dead. It was.
I think there may be some cocaine involved this weekend.
You know, it was a different part of the movie. Yeah. Is it a different movie?
You're talking about Jeff
No,
Barrows?
it's the dip. When she offers you the dip at the party.
Right, she calls me a dip, and so I blow up her necklace.
Right, but you remember how many
That's a
times we
fucking
took
hilarious
did that
story.
tape?
I don't really.
You don't?
Probably just she redid it a lot. I don't remember. Well,
No.
but the problem was the necklace. You know.
It sounds like I wasn't the only one partying.
No, guys. All right, because John wanted the double entendre, like where he's saying she's offering you dip, but you're also like dip, like the.
Right.
And John was looking for this nuance, and so she was like dip, and then John was like no, and then he would give her like he said no, you
I
this, we
wasn't
need the
saying
nuance.
dip. She was saying
Yes,
yeah.
and John wanted the new, like he wasn't getting the nuance of the dip.
Right.
So,
I got that. Well,
so then we did it again, and it was like dip, and it was like same kind of thing, and it took her a while to get. I mean,
she was, and here's what's funny too. It was Susan Jennifer, and it was funny is because originally he wanted her to be a redheaded, like a ginger from Gilligan Island,
Right.
Gilligan's Island. And I was really, really blonde, and so they tried to make her red, and she kind of went green when I was going black, and so they put me back to frizz, whatever it was then, and then she was blonde.
We all had rodeo hair.
Yeah, and Kane, you were in there when we were trying to shoot inside the house, when we were trying to hit Jennifer. You were hitting Jennifer with the axe, and you and John and everyone, and we just kept trying to get her to understand, she had to dip her head, you know, to understand how the axe would hit. So I do remember that was about 30 days. Because you have to imagine it, you know, we didn't have anything there that was showing her how to take an axe in the head. So.
I thought the most exciting scene to watch you guys film is when she knocked you down in the water, and you guys kind of made that up. You were in that puddle.
Oh, yeah.
Down, that was really fun.
Oh, where all the weeds were.
Yeah.
I loved that. I love that.
Weeds, it was the power line.
Yeah, power lines? I didn't know we had tree stumps.
Oh no, yes, you're right, the roots.
Yeah.
That was
the
before
roots.
CG, so you
That
guys
was
were doing
cool.
that.
Yeah.
And that was a case where I had to take the electrocution and then fall face first in the puddle.
Yeah.
And then lay there.
Yeah, until they roll.
While the camera dollies in slowly.
For 5 minutes, yeah.
And then tilts down and then zooms in, and I'm holding my breath this whole time. And I was just about out of breath, and finally John said, "Now." And I jumped up and chased after her, and if you ever watch the scene again, I got baggy drawers when I'm chasing after her, my droopy drawers, yeah.
Poopy pants.
And it made me think of something where when I killed Susan with the axe in the head and then threw her over the TV set, of course there had to be a stunt girl to do that scene flying over the TV. And I said, I hired the girl, and I said, this was her first job, by the way, that stunt girl.
Oh, wow.
And I said, you're going to have a prosthetic axe in your head, and you're going to throw yourself from off camera over a TV set. And she goes, okay, that sounds pretty easy. I said, yeah, well, not as easy as you think, because you're already dead. So now when you throw yourself across the TV, you can't break your fall with your arms. You have to go head first into the corner of the real building, over a real TV, just dive head first and not break your fall at all. So that wasn't easy.
And was she doing two jobs at once, her first and her last?
Anybody else? Becca?
Shenanigans, as we all are, Jason. What is your favorite kill, Kane? Because mine is number 10, the 2 girls in a sleeping bag. What's your favorite kill first?
I did have some input on that, since that's always been my favorite kill, as Jason is the sleeping bag from our movie. Yeah. I think is the most fun kill, because it's killing somebody with something that's not a weapon. So I think just the way it was, presented, and I always loved that kill. So when we did Jason X and Jim Isaac said, I think we should do something with the sleeping bag, I said, yes, we should. So we changed it a little bit, make one girl in a sleeping bag getting beaten with her friend who's in another sleeping bag, and then one final smash to the tree just for old time's sake. But that is my favorite Jason kill. There's been a lot of good ones, but the sleeping bag will always be my favorite. My all-time favorite kill is from the first Hatchet movie, and it's ripping the woman's head apart by her jaw.
Didn't you put Rusty Schwimmer's head in a deep fryer too?
Yes, I did.
Kane, how were you able to come back and play Jason for all 4 films like that when before you it was one and done?
I don't know. I guess from what I'm told, that the way I portrayed the character seemed to be a little more natural than other guys, maybe, I don't know. And I can say that I enjoyed it more than anyone else, so maybe somehow that comes across in the performance too, that the enthusiasm. And I tried to add things to the character that hadn't been done. And I mean, once the Part 7 was done and people liked what I did, then each director after that said, you know what, why take a chance on a new guy when we liked what this guy did? And so I did it 4 times in a row, which to me is a huge honor, but very fortunate. But I put everything I could into it and tried to, make it not look like it was rehearsed. That's the biggest thing. Because I still see guys on movies playing bad guys, whether they're in makeup or not, they look like they're acting to me sometimes. And that's the whole key, is to not make it look like that. And I guess somehow I am able to do that so it looks more convincing. I don't know.
That's because you're an actor. Yeah.
Yeah, come on, give it up for
I have a question for the fans. What did you guys think of the new reboot? Do people like that? Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. And
it's pretty scary, right?
I kind of boycott remakes and stuff, just because I love the original essence of things. But the remake, I enjoyed that one. Nightmare on Elm Street, not so much.
That was
Friday the 13th. Yes.
What about Freddy vs. Jason?
I love that. We were waiting years for that.
I know.
We were waiting years for that.
Yes, I was too.
They should do Michael Myers versus Jason. Right?
I would watch that. I would watch that for sure.
They must be doing that, right?
I mean, I would hope so.
I don't think it was.
Yeah.
What happened to our the retakes that we did on Topanga Canyon and all that new footage that was supposed to be re-edited into a DVD. I heard there was some fire issues. Does anybody know that?
I don't know, but I think a lot of that footage is in there.
Yeah, it is. All mine was in there.
That girl flies out the window that's so obviously like someone else. It's like, her wig's like on the front of her face. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a wig that's like literally on the front of someone's face. And it's like a man flying out the window.
No, it's a stunt girl, and I told her when I hired her, I said, you need to come out the window and do what we call a header. Go head first, turn in the air, and land on your back. And she goes, no problem. But I could tell in her eyes it was a problem. I said, you're going to do what I asked you to do. Go, because I'm throwing you head first through the window. You need to come out head first and turn and fall, or it's not going to look right. Yeah, no problem, no problem. I asked her several times, and then you see the movie, and she comes straight out, like Bill says, she's running in the air.
Right.
She's trying so hard.
Pedaling an invisible bicycle.
Just going like this.
Yeah.
Tuck her head so she turns.
And landing into no airbag, just right in the dirt. We ran out of money by then.
So we did that several months later. We had to go back, and I know it was off of Topanga, and did they bring in a lot of the foliage? Something was making it look like Alabama.
As I recall,
the pier. They even built the pier.
I think there was a few days.
I don't remember doing anything on the pier there.
No, we did. Me and David had our whole relationship. We smoked grass together in the movie. That footage.
Smoked grass?
Marijuana?
Coke and grass.
I think in some warehouse, in like a dark warehouse, they just filmed boobs for like 2 days to see if they could get those in there. It wasn't. It was none of them. It was just like
that was just Bigler's own movie.
Boobs walking around in the dark. Like, what's going on?
But what did happen to that footage, guys? Nobody knows?
No, a lot of it is in the movie.
Right, but there's a lot of it not in the movie, and I heard something about a fire. Is anybody aware?
Yeah. No, I didn't hear that.
No, I didn't.
Now you brought up another story about a fire. When we were traveling to Mobile, we had shot for 4 weeks in LA, all the interiors of the movie. Then we went to Mobile to shoot all the exteriors. And I had some stunt equipment on a truck being transported down to Mobile, some crash pads, air ramps, stuff like that for the movie. And on the way down, the truck caught on fire, is what I was told.
I remember that.
And a lot of my stunt equipment was destroyed. And Ian Patterson called me while I was at the hotel in Mobile, or we hadn't even gotten to the good hotel yet. We're in some shithole motel for a night or two.
Yeah, crazy motel. Racist Alabama.
And that's when I found out that my equipment had been destroyed, and I got so mad that I punched a hole in the wall of the drywall in my room. And, you know, not a very smart thing to do. But I thought, oh, great, now I got to pay for it. I went to the front desk and told them what had happened, and I'm happy to pay for it. So they charged me like $250 to repair the drywall. And I thought, okay, fair enough. I mean, I did destroy something. Then years later, someone came to me at a convention and said, hey, I went to a motel down in Alabama, and there was a hole in the wall with a plaque on it saying this hole was punched by Kane, Hodder, who played Jason, and they fucking charged me for it. It's a memorial now.
I hope you brought them out.
Do you remember this? Do you remember this? One day we were driving to work, and we would put him in full costume. He'd put it all on, the mask and everything, and we were driving to work, and the highway patrol pulled him over and made you get out. Was like, what is going on here? And then we're like, we're making a movie. He's like, we don't take too kindly to this kind of thing. Son, get out of the car. I remember that.
Yeah, and then the guy, the famous story of being on the set and, you know, going back. If you remember, there was at one point, base camp was on, you could walk on a road, dirt road around kind of in an arc, or you could cut through the woods, and I did that, cut through the woods.
It was really dark.
2 o'clock in the morning, and somebody's coming towards me, somebody that I don't recognize as being from the crew. So my first inclination is, well, I need to fuck with this person, which is what I always do. And I still had the mask on, which, like Bill said, a lot of times I kept it on just to kind of stay in character, and it was cold, so I'm walking and I see this guy and he stops. I'm in the entire costume, makeup, hockey mask, and this guy stops me and says, excuse me, you with the movie? So that's when I, did the head cock and then lunged at him. He just ran. And then the next day, Butler said, that local sheriff never did show up to visit the set. Wow, really? I wonder what happened.
That's hilarious. Those alligators everywhere, that was the weirdest thing. There were people on set with shotguns, and
this fast.
Yeah, like close to you, going, okay, go run through the woods, you'll be okay, don't worry. We'll shoot him if
he was like 90 years old, and I turned around and he was always behind me, and I said, what are you doing over there? He's like, I'm the alligator wrangler. I'm like, an alligator wrangler, but the swamp's right there, and you're over there. He's like, yeah, I can get him though. It wasn't gonna work. Yeah.
Did you see an alligator?
No.
I never saw one.
No.
Oh, thank God, no.
I don't think so. No.
When I asked him if I could go in the water, the lady was like, "Isn't there gators in their water over there?"
You know that hotel is all destroyed now. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Katrina.
I know.
It's all gone.
Do y'all remember well, you might remember this because Kevin Spiritus did not like dogs, and of course I love dogs. Do you remember the pit bull I adopted when we were shooting in LA? There was a pit bull, and he was kind of a set dog and scared Kevin all the time. He hated it when I brought the pit bull in.
I do remember
And
that
so
dog, yeah.
I took the pit bull home, and that was when it first came out that they were mean and chomping on people and whatever. And so we named him Buster and took him home, and I have poodles, lots of poodles, different sizes. And he got along just fine with the poodles, and I left a message for my imaginary husband and said, okay, there's a pit bull in the kitchen with the poodles. I'll see you after work or whatever. So I kept him for quite a while until we could farm him out, vet him out. But
I thought that story was going to end with he ate the poodle.
would have been a better story.
There's a story going.
Did not eat the poodle.
Or the husband.
Or the husband, no. No.
Any more questions, guys? Yes, sir.
Well, you were talking about the footage that y'all don't have anymore, but could you explain about the scene where you're crushing the black guy's head? Yeah.
Well, yes, I can. Oh, you mean in the movie?
I thought you were talking about last night.
There was so much work that Butler's company and Bill and all the effects professionals went to make a prosthetic head of the actor. They had to do his, life cast and everything else. And at some point I grab it and I squeeze it. And in the movie, of course, you see almost nothing, which every single kill in the movie is cut almost completely out, which is really frustrating. But the fact that I grab the head and start squeezing it and you see a little trickle come out of his eye and then it cuts away. But I've seen the other footage and I actually have it where I take that head and I start squeezing it and the eyeball pops out and shit flies out of the eye socket and you can see the skull crushed down to like the size of a softball. It was so good and it's just nobody ever sees it. It's a lot of work for, nothing, except my enjoyment, which is of value, by the way.
And mine, I remember that.
Any? Yes, sir.
This is for Kane, and I was traveling for Butler. Kane, with all the Jason costumes that you put on for your Friday 13 films, which one took the longest? And for William Butler, with all the special effects that you've done, which project did you have most fun?
Which, out of all the special effects that you want to go first?
Yeah, okay. All the Jason, well, not all of them, part 7 and part 8 was full body foam latex from ankles to the top of the head. Jason Goes to Hell, I mean, I should say 7 and 9 were. Part 8 was a lot easier because unfortunately I don't think the makeup was as good. So I had kind of an open face under the hockey mask. Part 7, I had full face prosthetics the entire movie, even though the hockey mask is on, because it was, you know, broken away, part of it. Part 8 was a lot easier as far as that goes, because it was a cowl and nothing really was glued on much. Jason Goes to Hell was a one-piece body, and by far the hardest to work in, and the most incredibly hot. I mean, it's always hot to be in full prosthetics, but that was, for some reason, way worse than anything I've ever had since also. And I had to wear a cool suit underneath it, a vest that circulates ice water, because I could not function for very long in that thing for some reason. And the fact that the hockey mask was built into the makeup, so I couldn't take it off after every take like I did the other movies, made it really hard. You get out of breath doing something violent, and then you have to catch your breath with something on your face. Not easy to do. And then Jason X was not too bad, kind of a headpiece for the original, and then the Uber Jason was a little difficult, but you know, I think Jason Goes to Hell was the hardest one to work in.
That's cool. And in regards to applying special makeup effects, well, I worked on Buffy the Vampire Slayer for a little while, which I loved. I loved that show. But you guys are probably all too young to know this movie that I worked on in Italy, which is hands down the most fun special effects experience I ever had in my whole life. Was a movie called From Beyond that Stuart Gordon directed, and it's really fun, and you should watch it. It has like no CG in it, and it's like tons of like puppets and forced perspective miniatures and full body makeups, and just really, really fun. And working in Italy was amazing, you know. But yeah, that's one that, but if you haven't seen it, you have to see it. You'll love it. It's like wall to wall like special effects, and it's no CG. It's all miniatures, and I'm a big fan of all. I like a little bit of CG, but I like it when you can do it in camera better as well. So, I know it's kind of a boring answer, but it's a true answer. Other than applying Kane Hodder's makeup, which is the dream of my life.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Kane, have you ever gotten so pissed off at a fellow actor or
Yes.
actress that when you come to their kill scene, you sort of took it out on them?
Does this answer come with a song?
They're making a video clip.
Yeah, I'd like to sing my answer.
It's the video clip, Kane's Revenge.
I don't think I've ever really gotten too mad at an actor because, as you probably know, I avoid everybody. If I'm in the makeup, and I'm a little method with kind of keeping my distance from everybody until it comes time for them to die, and then it's, you know, then it's more, I think it works for them too, because, you know, maybe you know, but I'll do stuff when I know the actors are watching me, but they think I don't know they're watching me, and I'll go and smash my head against the wall and start doing weird shit, and they're thinking, oh great, he's about to kill me and he looks like he's nuts over there. So they get a little off center, and then, you know, I do a lot of yelling and growling and screaming and stuff when I kill them sometimes, so, you know, I've never
Out of
really,
your baby face.
never really been mad at anybody for that, but.
I wonder if they would ever continue. What was the last one that they did in like in the series before they started rebooting and all that? What's the last one? Not the space one.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I guess.
Jason X was the last Jason film besides Freddy versus Jason.
Right.
So would they ever do? So what is that, Jason?
10.
10.
X 10.
10, yeah.
I thought it was a porn. I thought it meant porno. But they
Jason
did do a
Triple
porno.
X. Yeah, Jason Triple X. And just so you know.
But wait, my thing is, wouldn't it be cool if they did like another one one, or no? Is that not cool?
Why not keep them going?
Well, you have to bring Kane back if
You know
you're
what?
going to do another one.
That's what I'm saying. How come?
Right?
How come they never did like a skiing, like Winter Wonderland one? That was the only thing they never did, right?
Write the script, Billy.
Getting killed with the icicles and getting shoved in the ice.
So you guys know that I'm still bitter to this day that I was replaced as Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. I was never given an answer, even till now. I don't know why they did it. Nobody's ever told me. And it didn't seem to be a wise thing for the most part. And I've always been bitter about it. So Adam Green, who I work with all the time, the Hatchet movies and everything.
Well, I'm bitter about.
Who does the Holliston show on FearNet. It's a sitcom. This season, I'm playing myself again in it, and I thought we weren't going to tell people, but evidently he's been saying it. I am suicidal.
And spooning.
Huh?
And spooning.
And spooning, yes, but let's not get into that.
Is that how you got the job?
I am playing myself suicidal, and because of being replaced in Freddy vs. Jason, and the whole storyline is I'm living at Adam's apartment because they checked me out of the hospital where I tried to kill myself so that they could try and get me to produce their script and all that stuff. So I'm staying at his apartment, and anytime anyone ever mentions Freddy vs. Jason, I start twitching and trying to kill myself again. And it's quite funny. And it's, yeah, I mean, and it's like Adam's character, he says, you can't say anything, don't say Freddy vs. Jason around him, and then he's so compelled because he doesn't want to say it that he says it. He says, you can't say Freddy vs. Jason. And I smash things on my head and I try to do weird things. So it's really funny, and I'm happy to finally make some fun of something that still pisses me off.
Talk about turning a negative into a positive.
Take poison, make medicine.
Why don't you just track Ronnie Yu down and kick his ass and just end this all?
I don't know if that's him. But there were shirts that people made that were upset that I was replaced, and this is not something I did.
Yeah, right.
But this is something I heard. A fan made some shirts that said, fuck you. Why you? Because Ronnie Yu directed that movie. I didn't do it, and I thought it was kind of humorous, but I don't even think it was his decision, really.
Should have been you, but that movie's badass.
Well, they would do some different things like that because they were bringing Tina back for part 8, but they wouldn't let me see a script, and I wasn't going to die in it, so we just couldn't get anywhere with it at all, and I went ahead and shot something else, and
I went to New York.
You went to New York, I went to Yugoslavia, and shot another film.
We had no spin-off.
The dead
Well, you were
bodies.
dead. You have to be on a soap to come back from dead.
We'll have like the reincarnation movie where all the people you killed come back to life after you.
I went and got killed by a chainsaw after that. I did Leatherface, so I came back to life and then I died again. I died again. I died again.
Why can't we come back as zombies?
I want to be a zombie.
I want to be a zombie. Why can't we come back
You
as
guys should all
zombies?
come back as zombies and
I wanna
kick
be a zombie
Jason's ass.
No, that's my job.
Married to Rick.
All right, we have time for one more question. Or not.
Or?
Oh, this guy.
I think I read somewhere that you're big into practical jokes. What kind of practical jokes have you played on these guys here?
Oh, God. Well, I can answer that.
Yeah.
He pissed in my dressing room.
Which,
on the floor, in the garbage, on my bed, on me.
Those of you that have read the book know this, but I always kept it to myself until I wrote the book.
Yeah, thanks.
That every movie I did where I killed multiple people, I'd always pick one character out of the cast and urinate in their dressing room.
So I would get on my
It was Butler,
on my
for obvious reasons.
On my Facebook page, people started writing on my Facebook page, did it bother you that he used to pee in your dressing room? I'm like, he never did that. What are you talking about? And then after about the 80th entry, I realized what that smell was. And
so I made a list of the people whose rooms I've pissed in certain movies.
And now on Friday nights I pay for it, so it's all a circle of life. There was a joke in there.
And I always made sure I was in the character when I did it.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that going to count here at the hotel? Should we all check our rooms out?
Oh, no, you're fine.
You should see what he did to the waste can in my room this time.
That's a great note to end on.
All right, how about a big round of applause for these guys? Make sure if you haven't met them yet, come over to the tables. They got lots of good stuff.